So, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I don't know, maybe even good night to everyone joining our session today. Anastasia and me, on behalf of Consulting Masters, we are extremely pleased to very warmly welcome you to our today's session, where we are going to talk about what do you need to know in your application and preparation process. This session, I actually want to have a very lively discussion with you. I don't have slides with me because I really want to have it as a dialogue between us. So feel free to raise your hands, feel free to ask your questions, use the chat function here either on Zoom or leave your comment and give us a like if you are watching this video already on YouTube, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions. We are more than happy to help you and answer all of them. Guys, in the chat, can you maybe write also where are you coming from? I'm coming from Bern, Switzerland. What about you? Where are you guys located? Let's get to know each other. Yeah, hi Arjun. Yeah, pleasure meeting you from Bremen, Germany. Aditya is from Mumbai, India. Arjun is basically also likewise. Yeah, Rashna is located in Barcelona, is from India as well. Richard is from Vienna. Oh, Richard. I think I have something for you. Let me just take it. Now you see that it's also a Christmas time, and especially for Richard, this magnificent cup, which I brought from Weihnachtsmarkt Stephansplatz in Vienna or in Wien last year. Yeah, really amazing city, amazing, nice place. I like it so much. Harshina is from Berlin. So everyone, herzlich willkommen. Well, very well welcome to today's session. Let's basically start. Guys, can you please also indicate what do you want to know in today's session? Do you maybe have any specific question or you maybe have any upcoming interviews? Yeah, what would you be really interested in to find out? Please indicate in the chat. Hi, Siddharth. Hi, everyone joining. Yeah, glad to see you all, guys. Hi, Myresh, Bharat. Yeah. Or generally speaking, also, please write why you're interested in consulting, so that we could tailor a little bit. Yeah. Okay, Cedar is going for big bucks. Yeah, sure, absolutely. It's all about money, money, money. Okay, for Rashna is whenever a consulting firm is interviewing, what are the key qualities that they are looking for in candidates? Yeah, that's a very good one. Rashna, I will probably even start with this question. Again, I would like to know what kind of competences I need to develop in order to be useful as consultant in general. Myrish, I would like to know how consulting companies proceed with different rounds of interviews and what are their expectations. And how that translates to the interview situation. Okay, so let me maybe just start from the very basics, and then feel free also to write comments, put likes, give hints, and share this video with your friends if you find it very useful. I just start from what happens like from the company's perspective. How do we perceive it? So let's imagine I'm working with McKinsey or BCG or Bain or whatever company, you name it. Basically, every year, my company, and I'm a recruiter, every year my company is going to receive a really huge number of applications. Like I remember official statistics in Germany, it was something like 15,000 applications back in the year 2012 when I was applying for my first full-time consulting job in consulting. Like McKinsey, Germany received 15,000 applications on the one hand. So of course, no one on earth has enough capacity to look through all of them. That's why there were some sort of filter criteria, some sort of like, you know, in old times, you needed to fill it out all on the website, like starting, basically creating your own LinkedIn profile or like creating your CV on this website of McKinsey, BCG, Bain. I don't know. The procedure is similar for every big major consulting firm. So you as an applicant, you create your profile, starting with all your personal data, up to what kind of note you had in your master's, bachelor's, or even high school degree. And this already has been used as sort of the filter. So there were filters created to find out the most prospective candidates. Because what in fact happened, McKinsey or every company filtered out 90% of the candidates, or maybe 60% of the candidates they filtered out completely. And to the remaining 40%, they sent the test, which you need to complete. And this still even before the interview invite stage. So nowadays, every company, McKinsey sends, for example, invitation to the Imbalance game. BCG has its own game. Bain has its test. Rollenberger has basically tests which assesses your qualitative, logical ability and your skills in terms of the language skills, how you can use it for written communication. So all of this, so like certain criterias which you need to fulfill. Of course, you need to have top marks in order to be among those who are qualified for an interview, or at least those who receive their test as an invite. And then the test as the second filter helps companies to filter out inappropriate candidates, like from those who started doing the test, only like a half will actually be able to complete it. So as a result, out of 15,000 applications that the company has received, they will only invite maybe 10%, maximum 15% to the first interview round. So that in fact, out of 15,000 candidates, they in the whole year maybe interview in best case 1,500. And then out of those people, they will only select top 1%. So basically only roughly 150 people joined McKinsey back in the year 2012 in German office. Just to give you as an example, these percentages might vary from company to company, but this is just to give you the feeling. How does it look like from the company's perspective? Because the company doesn't have the capacity to speak to everyone who applies. They're looking just the best candidates to fill out certain number of positions that they do have. So for example, Of course, nowadays they hire way more people. I would say that in Germany, they are hiring roughly 600 to 750 people nowadays, just to give you as an example. And worldwide, they're hiring about 2,200 people. At least this was the data of previous 2 years. However, what you need to fulfill and what characteristics you need to have in order to get there to maximize your chances. If you are going traditional way, like applying and getting through the entire process, you basically need to have a very, very good profile. And by having a good profile, I don't tell you that you need to have specific background. It doesn't mean that you definitely need to study business or economics. You could be also an engineer, you could be a lawyer, you could be having even backgrounds in literature or something completely not related to consulting. I mean, just to give you a few examples, it was my pleasure, but in the past, I've been working with Navy SEALs, former Navy SEALs. I've been working with former opera singers who made it to consulting. So it's really about that people with every type of background can make it. But, and there is a very serious but, they need, or you need to be unique. You need to be really good in what you do. If you are studying literature, you need to be really good in that. If you are studying philosophy, you really need to be very good in that. If you're studying business, you also need to be very good in it. Having a business background, yeah, is not something to favor it. I would say it doesn't give you a normal advantage, because the competition with business and economics or a civil engineering background is really very tough, because most of consultants, I would say, like 40% of applicants are having business background. And of course, it's highly beneficial if your university is one of the top tier universities. So if we're talking about Switzerland, it's just to give you an example, very good universities in Switzerland are University St. Gallen, University ETH Zurich, Technical University, and University of Zurich itself. If we're talking about Vienna, since we have Richard here, it's WU Wirtschaftsuniversität Wien, or I think Business or Economic University of Vienna. If we're talking about Germany, this is another range of schools. If we're talking about UK, you can name that to me. London School of Economics, LBS, Oxford, Cambridge, yeah, basically among top 10 or even top 5 universities in every country. If in France, it's a different story with INSEAD, ESSEC, ETEC, etc. In the US, it's typically Ivy League. In Southeastern Asia, it's the universities in Singapore and business schools, as well as in Kuala Lumpur. If we're talking about Middle East, it's majorly AUB, American University in Beirut, highly reputable business school. So having these universities and business schools on your CV is a huge advantage, because many people who used to study at those universities are working nowadays in consulting. And that could be also one of very huge advantages in terms of your networking activity, if you want to join the firm. But it's not necessary that you have these universities. I mean, you can make it to consulting even with no brain or no brand universities or like no name. So, for example, I'm born Ukrainian, and I studied in Kiev National Economic University. It's one of the major economic universities in Ukraine, but you have never heard about it, I would assume. Despite this, I mean, when I came to Germany, my university name was not, no one was actually familiar with it. In fact, people were asking myself 10 years back from now, like, what is the weather in Moscow? And they couldn't figure out that Ukraine had nothing to do with Russia. I mean, nowadays they wouldn't feel themselves comfortable asking these kind of questions due to certain circumstances, which you might be probably aware about. Yeah, but nevertheless, so I came for study to Germany with a no-name university, and still I made it. Of course, it was more difficult. And if you want, I can even go deeper into my personal experience so that you can learn from it. Because, you know, many of you guys might get really crazy about cracking cases in English. But I would say that, oh, it's just very easy comparing to cracking the cases in German. If German is your if German is your foreign language, because it makes it to completely higher difficulty. And you know, you still need to compete against all these brilliant guys who completed their studies at LMU Munich or WHU Valender or EBS Business School, like from the German elite, so to say, like who have rich parents. Maybe many of them, of those parents, are already working with those leading consulting companies, or maybe so many of them are being clients of these consulting firms because they are big entrepreneurs in the country, and you still need to compete with them. So getting into consulting in Germany, for me specifically, was a very, very tough thing. But I can still assure you that what they're looking for are unique personalities, actually. That's why your CV is really, really, really very important. In fact, it is so important that I try to put all my knowledge on how to craft a CV for consulting in a video course that Anastasia can also share a link with you. By the way, if you are guys following us on Zoom, feel free to subscribe to my personal networks on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and thanks to Anastasia, we are now even live on TikTok. So feel free to follow us on the social media suitable that suits you most, or just hit the notification and subscription button on YouTube to stay tuned for our future events. So coming back to the CV, and Anastasia, please also put the link for the video course so that people can also have a look at them. On your CV, you should try to highlight your achievements. You should try. So, for example, I personally was among 14 students who were honored with a scholarship from DAAD. This is German Academic Exchange Service. Or I was among top 1% of the graduates in my high school. Or what I also highlighted were several other scholarships that I received. Or I was among top 20 students, like most talented students from abroad in the University of Passau. University of Passau in Germany is also another no-name university. So it's a smaller university. It's very good um, for lawyers, but just rather mediocre for economics. What I'm trying to say with this is it's all possible for you, but you need to put extra efforts and you really need to have this high motivation. So when I came to Germany and started working there, I started studying there. I really wanted to get many relevant internship experiences. So if you are just a student at about 20 years to 25 years, currently doing your bachelor's or even your master's, think about what kind of relevant experience can I bring to the table. Complete one or two internships. Go to different firms. I started my career in banking. Then I did my second internship with an automotive company, just to put some brand names also on the CV. Going for an internship to a big four company could be a good deal. And then after having a few good internships, I applied for an internship with McKinsey, BCG, and Roland Berger, and I ended up with an internship at Roland Berger in Kiev office. So these internships, they helped me to pave the way to consulting, to overcome those difficulties. And I can always tell you that applying and going in consulting through the internship is way easier in terms of competition on the one side, and also in terms of the interview process on the other side. Because if we're talking about the interview process itself, Rashna, to answer your question, what does it consist of? It consists of several interview rounds. So basically, you have the HR screening call. So someone from HR, after you've completed the test, and you are among top 10 lucky persons who are invited for the interview. So you can already feel proud and feel great about it that you are invited to an interview, because yes, you are among top 10. Yeah. Then it has several stages. Like there is a first HR pre-screening call or a call with a consultant, which is rather more about who are you? Like, what's your name? What's your background? Why did you study this background? Why do you want to go for a consulting? Why do you want to work for McKinsey, Bain, BCG, Roland Berger, Strategy and Kearney, Oliver Wyman, whatever, you name it. Basically, why this company? Why this? Why that? Where do you see yourself in 5 years from now? And then, of course, what we call PEI, which is like your personal stories, like where consultant can ask you something like, Sidok, could you maybe tell me about the story where you was supposed to demonstrate your leadership skills? Or Rashna, can you maybe give me an instance where you showcased your entrepreneurial skills? Or Daniel, can you maybe tell me about the situation where you needed to manage the conflict? Or Aditya, can you maybe tell me about an instance like, I don't know, most challenging project and how did you cope with that? Or Anastasia, what is the fun fact on your CV, or what is the fun fact about yourself which is not matching on your CV? So something like this, just to give you a feeling of what is coming on the real interviews. Yeah, and then after this call, there are like 2 rounds of interviews. Maybe with some companies it could be like 2 rounds, 3 interviews each, or 3 rounds, 2 interviews each. So generally speaking, between your first interview and your job offer are sometimes 6 to 8 interviews in total. They could be structured in a different way, depending on the company. Like, for example, Kearney doesn't have interview rounds. They simply have separate interviews, but you need to pass like all 5 interviews. And with some of the companies, like Kearney that I mentioned, it's up or out policy with every interview. So it's basically pass, not pass. So you need to pass every interview out of the 5 in order to get to the job offer. So you see, out of 10% or 1,500 candidates, with every stage, with every interview, there will be less and less people staying in the process. And they are filtering. So therefore, one of the key skills that you really need to develop in your interview preparation is consistency, because you may pass one interview. It could be just a matter of luck. You were in a good mood. You had a pleasant interviewer, like me playing now a good guy, and you were able to emotionally connect with that person. You were able to answer all the questions in a really, really, really good way. And then you were able to crack the case precisely. You were able to ask very intelligent, very good questions at the very end of the interview. And in this way, really leave a very, very positive impression to the interviewer. That's good. Amazing. You're now going to the next stage. But are you able to repeat this success 6 times in a row, when sometimes interviewers might be playing simply bloody assholes, to put it to the point. And it's not because they are rude, it's not because they want to harm you or they have something personal against you. No, it's because they are facing this kind of behavior in the real life with their clients, and they want to simulate it with you and see how would you react in nasty situations when it really becomes uncomfortable or even personal. Would you feel yourself harassed? Would you block yourself? How would you react in the real situation? Because remember one thing, they are looking for people who create value. What I mean by this is they're looking for people who can come to the client, who could be put in the very uncomfortable environment. And after 2 months, they fix all the problems of the clients as much as they can. They make the client happy. They analyze the situation of the client. They also develop their solutions for the client together with the client, facing resistance from the client side and still being able to convince the client. Because that's exactly what your company will be paid 2,000 euros or $2,000 for every day that you are working on this project. And clients know this. That's why they expect also quite a lot. In all honesty, clients are not silly. Sometimes, or very often, they don't understand why does the company engage these consultants. Why not to pay us? Because 3 months of of a work of consultant, or maybe even just 2 months of a work of a consultant can cost the company as much as one annual salary of just someone from the staff. So why does they pay this premium? And consultants are really being called for projects which are non-trivial. So for something that companies cannot actually do themselves. That's why expectations are really so high. And that's why it all puts a place in the real interview. When I was member of recruiting team and I had to interview candidates, I also, in one interview, I was playing a friendly person. In another interview, I was playing rather reserved one and skeptical. In this third one, I was saying, Harshini, yeah, so tell me, what's the outcome? What's the outcome? Give me the numbers. I'm not convinced. Like I was putting some pressure on the candidates, because all of that I've experienced, on my personal skin when I was working there. And that's a part of the recruiting process. That's why it's really important for you to develop some sort of emotional resilience. Guys, it's not about you. Don't take it personal. You need to show your professionalism and your training. And that's also something that we help our clients to develop throughout the coaching and the programs with us, to go and play this poker face while being natural and still being yourself and authentic, but like coping with this pressure, pushing back and like really leading every time the conversation. So then what happens also behind the scenes, because I think there was a question from Eigen or Richard in the chat. I was not sure about what are the expectations. So there is a standard process, and basically every interviewer has some sort of feedback grid for himself on how he or she should assess every candidate. Like whenever I have done an interview with every candidate, after that interview, I needed to assess every candidate and fill out a form for every candidate. And it is usually divided like into 3 parts. First part is assessment of the personal fit part of the interview. Second part is assessment of the case part of the interview. And third part is some other aspects plus general summary and recommendation. So in the personal fit part, it was, for example, of course, assessment of the communicative skills, assessment of the structuring skills, like how structured is that candidate, how he or she can express themselves, how convincing they are they able to clearly communicate, are they precise? It's basically assessment of your energy, of your vibe, if you can say so. Like what's the first impression about you? It's assessment of your behavior, your body language, your voice. Your voice plays really a key role during the interview. And of course, it's also assessment of what exactly you are saying. So it's a huge assessment of how but it's also a big assessment of what, so to say. Then, if we're talking about just not to go too much into details about every specific assessment criteria, I will go to the case part. I mean, if you're really interested in any of these topics, for me to cover it deeper, feel free to raise your hand or feel free to put a question in the chat if you want me to stop on every specific aspect. I mean, I don't want to do this as a dialogue, as a monologue. Let's do this webinar as a dialogue to bring you the utmost value. Yeah. And then if we're talking about the case part, it's assessment of your analytical skills. How do you analyze the data? How do you go about it? It's assessment of your structuring skills, like how do you basically structure the whole case? It's assessment of your attentive listening. What I faced as an interviewer, in all honesty, after the case starts, I can tell you maybe after 3 minutes or after maximum 7 minutes after the case started, whether this candidate will make it or not. The remaining part we can simply skip it, because there is a certain procedure which you need to follow in that case, and it becomes so much clear whether it is stop or flop. And you know, 9 out of 10 candidates statistically seen are flying out of the process. So only one actually gets the job offer. And you know, unfortunately, it was like this in my times, that whenever I see already, no, the candidate, it's not gonna work, I will simply play a very polite person, because I still want this candidate to have a really good impression about my company. That's also part of the corporate policy. And why I can tell you this with a huge confidence is because people are doing put yourself in my shoes. If the candidate is only coming for an interview, but he or she has only prepared for a case part, they will probably bump completely the first part of the interview, like the first 10 to 20 minutes when I am going to ask you about the personality and about the stories. If they can still say something about themselves and about the motivation, probably they don't have stories prepared in line. And by the way, if you want to have stories prepared, we have developed the video courses on that. So just go to the video course -consultingmasters.online and see there. There is really a lot of useful material for you. But turning back, if I, as an interviewer, see that the candidate is not prepared, it's already a minus in the first assessment criteria. So like the first 4 points on top, I will basically assess them not in the best way. And then the candidate starts filling it. And then the candidate is entering the case while being nervous, being uncomfortable. So actually entering the case already on the wrong foot. So that's why I can already say, probably not gonna work tonight, or at this time at least. Still, we continue. I give the prompt, and then the candidate rushes up to the structure, or even trying to solve the case all at once, just on the leg, and it doesn't work. It simply doesn't work, because what the best thing that the candidate should do is actually to slow down, to paraphrase the question, to make sure that the candidate that you basically understood the question. And then it's one of the top mistakes. I saw it so much. People are always rushing to the structure and completely forget to clarify what I'm trying them to find out. So you are not asking questions. You're not asking questions to understand what's the initial situation and what's the objective. And it damages you so much, in fact, because in that case, you are not able to identify what I'm supposing you to find out, actually. So it's rather way better that you find it out and ask your clarifying questions. And then my answers to those clarifying questions will help you also as a guidance to put a better structure for the case in place. And another very, very common mistake is that you're not listening to the interviewer. You're not listening to me during the interview. Even today, I did a session with one very advanced candidate from our community, and unfortunately, he didn't listen to me. So he didn't. I tried to give him some hints as an interviewer, but yeah, he simply ignored it, and he also ignored one important piece of data that I told him. And then, yeah, it all leaves unfavorable impression. That's why whenever we come to the case closure, people are not driving the discussion. That's another key fact. So combination of all these factors will be reflected into my negative feedback, which I will fill out for that candidate if I was a real interviewer. So these are the things that you need to keep in mind. Like every moment you've been assessed. Remember this. Every moment, starting from the very first second up to the very last second, you've been assessed. Yeah, that's why even the questions at the end of the interview to the interviewer, like from you to the interviewer, are so important. Because after the case is over, the interview is still not yet over. Because you have a chance to craft your positive impression or to ruin your positive impression, which you have created so far. So if you don't have questions to the interviewer at the end of the interview, well, it's probably not the very best option, I would say. So make sure that you are also preparing quite a few very intelligent questions to the interviewer. And in order to do so, it's a general recommendation. It's like home reading or a home study. It's your home task. It's an absolute must. I don't even want to talk about this into details, but I still need to tell you this. Make sure that you study and stalk everything that you can find out about that person and about this company online, which means stalking everything on the profile of that person on LinkedIn. This is a huge advantage nowadays that you have, guys. 10 years back from now, there was no LinkedIn or it was not widely used. So you couldn't hardly, first of all, you didn't know whom you are going to be interviewed with. Nowadays, you have this luxury. So make sure that you have read every fucking publication, an article that he or she has created over the past 2 years. Read also everything about the practice group that the potential interviewer is a member of with this company. Read their studies. Read about the company that you are applying for in the news or their recent projects, whatever is available, so that you can ask very intelligent questions. And also stay human. Put yourself, look at your consultant and at your interviewer as if he or she is already your future colleague. This will help you to build a truly, emotional thing between you guys and truly connecting the interview. And then I would say meditate, go with God, but go. If I can only tell you. Now I'm more than happy to answer all of your questions and to go deeper into every part of the journey that you would like to discuss. So feel free to turn on your cameras, raise your hands, turn on your microphones and ask the questions if Anastasia or me are giving you the word, or simply leave your comments or like, and share this video also with others if you find it useful. So I am at your service.
Okay, I would like to say that, Andrea, thank you for this webinar. It was really interesting. And yes, we have a couple. Some of us, you want to raise your hand and read it, or I can read and Andrea will answer it. Aijan, I have your question here. So would you like to turn on your camera and provide it by yourself, or I should read it?
Like guys, everyone whom Alessia is naming, whom Anastasia is naming, please briefly introduce yourself before speaking for the audience, and then ask your questions. Okay, Aichen, let's start with you.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Because now I'm using my Bluetooth.
Yes.
All right,
Okay.
perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Aigen. I'm from Germany. I'm a master's student right now at the Dutch University studying IO psychology. So much in my background. And my main question is, as you've seen, probably is quite general. I'm well aware of that, but this is basically also my main issue, that I'm lacking an overview. The term consulting in general, for example, and coaching, which I'm also doing right now, which I'm trying to become right now. Yeah, my question is basically, which I've asked, what kind of core or key competencies, right? Key competencies would you advise to develop during a study when you have, let's say, 1 year? What is realistic?
Aichen, pleasure meeting you, first of all. And you know, when I was studying at the University of Passau, I don't know whether you have it in your university, but there was a Center for Developing of Additional Competencies. Zentrum für Zusatzqualifikation in German. And yes, in this center, they were offering a lot of soft skills. So right, they were offering like public speaking, rhetoric courses, convincing workshops, moderation, negotiation skills, these kind of things. If you have an opportunity to use this kind of skills, I would say that 80% of the necessary skills that you need for consulting are soft skills, 20% right, are hard skills.
That is very insightful, actually, because we do have a career center. Thank you for sharing that with me. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Because my focus was too much on very specific hard skills, basically, and I forgot about the importance or the relevance of those soft skills. So that is actually, yeah, thanks for the information. That answers my question.
Then the focus towards the soft skills, because the hard skills you will sooner or later develop on the job. And in fact, what you need for your daily consulting life are skills on PowerPoint and Excel, macros, storytelling, etc. By the way, on the same video course page that I referred to, we even have a program which we developed for youngsters, for someone who completed our training and is going to join consulting very soon. It's called Get Ready for the First 100 Days, because it helps you to build up stepstones for your successful career. Because in consulting, another part which is not told to you, if you think that after you got the job in consulting, it's all over, no, the journey is just about to begin. Bear in mind that consultants, like all these major consulting firms like MBB or Tier 1 consulting firms, they do have up or out policy in place, which means that every person who starts working in consulting has only limited amount of time, maximum 2 years, to go to the next position. And if for some reason the person doesn't cope with that speed, they are being outplaced. I mean,
Yeah.
I have been outplaced even from my first employer, ZDB. That's why I can tell you this from my personal experience. But it was very harmful and painful experience. And due to this, thanks to this experience, I already knew, I made my own conclusions on what it takes to succeed in consulting. Then with Rollenberger in Germany, I started building very rapid career. When I got my first promotion, not after 2 years, but after 6 months, while usual promotion cycles are 24 months.
This is very useful information for me, basically. First of all, thanks for that. One small thing that I wanted to point out is my name. You pronounce it Eigen. It's like I can. It's the G, like in the word goose, not in geography. Okay. So much to that. But that is very, very nice to hear, because it connects the theoretical backgrounds that I've been reading about talent and in general how companies evaluate talent. So this is actually you're kind of building the bridge right now from what I've learned theoretically to how it is conducted in reality in the companies, because I did read a lot about the word talent and how talent is also differently defined and what you need in order to be promoted, right? And this time factor, actually, that makes a lot of sense, and that makes me understand certain components way better. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and also for everyone who's watching this webinar either on YouTube or here on Zoom with us, we are giving a gift for you. So now Anastasia will be sharing the calendar link of our expert, Anton. Feel free to book a meeting with him to discuss your own situation and where do you stand at the moment, what do you need to achieve in order to get into consulting, and it's completely free. I do it absolutely free for you, and then you can also find out more about our services and what is the best thing in terms of our products, video courses, our programs, or our personal coaching specifically for you in your situation regarding your needs and your budget. Okay, so yeah, happy to help you. Do we have any further questions, Anastasia?
Yes, Siddharth, I hope so I pronounced it right. Please, you're welcome, and then Ratka.
Hi, Andre. Thank you so much for sharing all the consulting insider information that you've been sharing for the past half an hour. I'm curious to know about management consulting at Big Four as opposed to consulting at MBB firms, because at times, like, unless you've stepped inside the companies, you do not realize what really goes around. Because at EY, you have the EY-Parthenon. At Deloitte, you have the Deloitte Monitor. So I'm just curious to know, are these like a separate strategy consulting arms of these companies? And what happens, like what is the difference between Big Four consulting and consulting at MBB firms?
Okay, it's not only about MBB firms, but it's also Tier 1 firms, I would say. So it's there is significant difference between what you called EY-Parthenon, KPMG Strategy, Deloitte Monitor, and I forgot one. Doesn't matter. All right, PwC. On the one side, and the remaining firms are McKinsey, BCG, Bain, Roland Berger Strategy, and which is part of PwC, but it's a different pairs of shoes, I would say. Kearney and Oliver Wyman. And the thing is that, in my personal opinion, I mean, I've been comparing the both from different angles. Those Big Four firms, they're doing a very, very narrow, very limited part of their consulting work. So they are mainly doing quite a lot in terms of advisory, especially M&A advisory. They're doing some financial advisory. Advisory is not equal to consulting. So in consulting, you have a way broader range of services, like strategy development in terms of functions, cost optimization, process optimization, digitization, restructuring, etc. Like, and the level that you are operating as a strategy consultant is way higher. You are mostly working on the top management with very often with top executives or top -1, top -2 executives, while management consulting, which is represented by Big Four firms, are mostly working with middle management of the companies. And so you have significant differences in terms of scope of work, what they are doing. You have significant differences in terms of impact that you are creating for clients. Then, of course, working hours are different. I mean, with Big Four, you have better working hours, way better working hours than with top consulting firms. But on the other side, you are also less paid. And if you are changing from Big Four company to one of the leading consulting firms, you will probably be downgraded. Just to give you an example, if you were a senior consultant with one of the Big Fours, you will start as a junior in leading Liga, I would say in the top 7. If you were a manager, you will get to senior consultants, etc. So, in the nutshell, I was hesitant to even apply to Big Four to Big Four firms. I always shoot for the stars.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Thank you, Andre. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. All right. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice to see you.
Rahma?
And guys, please also, I know that you are coming, not the first webinar, but just for everyone who is here in the room for the first time, or everyone who's watching this video on YouTube for the first time, please don't forget to briefly introduce yourself. It would be also, I would appreciate it. Yeah. Next one.
Okay, we have a question from Rahma.
Yes, hello. So I come with a background of about 12 years now in sales, pre-sales, and predominantly bid management, wherein I'm dealing with internal customers, trying to get the work done and build winning bids, of course, with, the leadership influence coming in. So
and what's your education and residence?
I'm an engineer, and I am now doing my master's here in Spain. And I've lived in India, in the Middle East. I've also lived and worked in United States for about a year. And yeah, so and I've worked with companies based out of United States, Canada, India, Middle East, Singapore, and France. Yes.
Okay. And what's
Yeah.
your question?
So my question is that with this kind of experience and being a bid manager or a proposal manager for so long, what would your advice or recommendation be to target as a next step if I have to move into the consulting firm? Because I'm not a complete salesperson, so I don't have the detailed financial know-how, but yet at the same time, I have been a bridge or the communication between the business and the technical to build something that is a winning bid. And when I'm talking about winning bids, I'm talking about bids of value of $2 billion US, a maximum amount of that. But then, of course, it's a team effort. So, yeah.
Okay. So, Rashna, to maybe decompose it, of course, I would need way more information about you, about your profile, with all the specifics. But my gut feeling tells me that you could be a good candidate for senior consultant role, or consultant role, like upper than junior consultant, like either grade 2 or 3. So definitely before manager position. And you need to heavily utilize your network, LinkedIn, our network, in order to get the interview invite with one of the leading consulting firms and go for it. I think the best way for you would be to simply book a call with Anton and discuss all the details. But we used to have people, of course, with very similar profile to yours who ended up with one of the top firms later on. So I would strongly encourage you, but you really need to have strong guts and good motivation, because the road might be bulky, and you really need to go all for it and stay focused and highly motivated and prepared to work hard for, in good case 3 months, in bad case 12 months, with ups and downs, with frustration on the way, and with so much excitement and happiness at the end of the journey that you might be literally crying or screaming or whatever, becoming very emotional when you finally achieve it.
Sure. Understood. Thank you.
Yeah. So go for it. Okay. Yeah. Anyone else?
Okay. No hands up. No more questions.
Hi, Andre.
Ah, Aditya. Hi.
Yeah, there's some problem from my end, technical problem. So I couldn't raise anything. I couldn't do anything. I'm like,
yeah.
so
how do you want? How come that you are still working?
I'm like, there's only like the screen is only like locked up. I don't know, something happened. I think I did something.
Okay, yeah, Aditya is basically based in India and is currently working at Bain. Just for you guys to know his background. Yes, Aditya, how can I help you?
Yeah, so I just wanted to know, like if I happen to go from a referral to McKinsey or something, like will I be doing the test and all, or like will I be just getting to go for the fit and the case interview?
It depends on your level. I mean, if you are going for a manager and above, you won't be doing any case, any test. If you are going below manager, the probability will be high that you would need to complete imbalance test games. But in our programs, we also have guidelines for imbalance or other games. Actually, guys, I mean, no matter at what stage you're currently staying, if you reach out to us and we start working together, you will get 99% of the materials necessary for your preparation.
Yeah, and one thing, Andrew, like I was thinking to take up this service from this coming month, but like till like when can I, like take a help, like a year or more than a year? Because like I think I'll be going for masters, and my masters is going to end on 2024 September. So like if I take service this coming month, November, so like how will like things go?
I mean,
Because
you can secure your job for the future. What I did when I was a consultant, I started applying 1 year before my graduation from the University of Passau. I think, yes, it was in spring 2012. And I got my job 10 months before the graduation time, or 11, something like this. Yes, I mean, the company has been waiting for me for roughly a year, and it's something that that is pretty common in consulting. I mean, what happens very often is that companies simply want to secure the best candidates from the class, and therefore it doesn't matter if you need to complete your master's or your MBA. I mean, if you look at it, like every leaving the company, like if you were an intern or if you were a junior consultant and now going either for master's or MBA, the company will wait for you for 1 or 2 years after you get back, because after you get back, you will be the top talent.
Okay, and like
than you are at the moment.
Okay, so like we can like,
and
I think
Aditya, just to be very clear, with you specifically and with your background and your ambition, I'm not planning to work with you for the entire year. I think you need to work faster to make sure that within 3 to maximum 6 months you get your offer.
Yeah, like like it's just sort of a anxiety, like I'm trying for I think I will be trying for a very competitive place, so like a bit worried, like will I be able to get, even like India is like quite competitive, but not competitive as Germany or Dubai or
Sure.
So,
I mean, look, consulting is one of the most competitive industries worldwide. Some of the offices are even more competitive, especially London. But Middle East, for instance, especially countries like Qatar and Saudi, offer nowadays really very good opportunity to enter the industry, and that would, in your case, would probably makes much more sense. I can understand your anxiety at the moment, but there was one good saying which I got to know from one of my Indian friends. He told me that the elephant needs to be eaten piece by piece. So
yeah.
In your case, you simply need to take the very first step to start the program, and then you will see, like, from one session to the other, like from one interface to the other, it's a journey.
Mhm.
And this journey has several steps, but it's just very important to start with the step one, and then
Mhm.
it happens more or less automatically.
Okay, like I'm quite clear today. Like, yeah. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure. I mean, then reach out to Anton,
Mhm.
book a session with him, and finalize the discussion so that we can start working together very soon.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. I hope so. Yeah, even like I'm thinking, I really want to.
Okay, perfect. Happy to start working together with you. All right. Anyone else? Anastasia?
No more question in the chat. No more question in the chat. No
Okay,
more questions on
guys,
YouTube.
then I
So-
just have one small thing for you. Can I actually ask you, or maybe just even two things? First of all, I would really highly appreciate if you could share the information about this webinar with your friends, recommend Consulting Masters and Us to everyone who is interested in consulting. And could you please also tag us in your social media, whether it's Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, or whatsoever in your stories, or just tag us in the posts to make sure, yeah, like saying thank you or something like this. Maybe you've got something valuable about it. I would really be very pleased to hear and to read all your comments. And if I may ask you, can you just also, before leaving the room, tell me what is your biggest insights? Maybe someone wants to share some feedback and some insights or some very interesting information that you will take with you from this webinar. Feel free to raise your hands.
I think if I may just add a point there, I think one of my biggest takeaways was, because I'm pretty new to the whole idea of having a case study being resolved, and I've attended a prior webinar as well, wherein there was this huge discussion around case study, and some of the concepts were very new. But after today's call, I do understand why the case study comes in and the importance of it, and also how important it is to have at least the first level when it comes to the personal interaction, cleared so that we can be confident enough to actually get into the case study and have our heads right there, working on it. So the process that you elaborated and explained how it actually flows, that was really helpful and insightful. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for sharing your experience. Okay, I also see here in the comments, again, is my biggest takeaway was the importance of the soft skills. Thanks a lot for your time and effort, Sandra. From Siddharth, up and out happens to the best of us. Well, yeah, that's true. Rashna, also thanks for your experience. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you liked our today's webinar. Please also feel free to put a like under this video, leave a comment, or ask us a question, or book a call with our experts and reach out to us. Share this video with your friends if you think that it's helpful. Yeah. Stay pleased. God bless. Merry coming Christmas. And by the way, on Monday, I think it's December 19th, just before the Christmas, you have unique opportunity to visit our very, very last webinar, which we are going to host this year. It's going to be a surprising one about the application strategy and networking. So basically how to make it from this through this 90% to the top 10%, how to get selected. I'm happy to talk about this with you. And yeah, Feel free to tag us in your social media. Thank you very much for coming. Stay blessed and all the very best to you, my dears. Big hugs from our side, from the entire Consulting Masters team.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Andre.
Bye-bye.